Hello everybody, I hope you're well. I know it's been a while since my last video, but I have been moving through my own experience of flow, and yeah, it is what it is. And I actually feel it's good to honor my own flow, and that being whatever it looks like for you guys, I think is a powerful experience for us all, because then we all start to work in a more natural rhythm, as opposed to this very sort of heavily, almost, unhealthy, masculine, kind of pragmatic, consistent, every week thing, which I think is good to a degree, but I also think that there are times where we have to just allow flow. And that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks, mainly because I've been going through my own personal shifts, and I've just been holding space for myself, which you'll also know I think is extremely important, and I highly recommend. How can we hold space around others if we can't hold space for ourselves? Whenever I'm in a state of flux, I drop into myself. I'm surrounded by very beautiful friends who wish to support me far more than I allow them to. And that's simply just because my natural inclination is to always just drop in and sit with myself and find a way, or just feel my way through whatever's coming in. And yeah, recently over the last, to be honest, my journey over the last few months, I felt this oncoming shift, but in the last week or so, or a couple of weeks, it's actually been quite, it's kind of crescendoed. And yeah, I'm now the other side of it, and just feeling all the beautiful, empowering vibrations and visioning that's coming in for what's to come. Don't worry, I'll keep you posted on all of it, obviously. Anyway, what I want to talk to today, and I've talked about this before, but I can't express how important it is, particularly where we're at right now. We have been in a very, what's known as a patriarchal energy. This is like an unhealthy masculine energy. This is the corporate world that we live in, not just corporate, but just the way that we approach the environment, the way that we approach each other, and the way that we approach ourselves has been just really embedded in an energy, an old, heavy energy, which we have seen over the last year, particularly really powerful shifts in. And what we are being invited into, and I've said this before and I'm going to keep saying it, is our feminine. But most important is also the healthy masculine too. So, let's not get too caught up in all of this feminine energy, because it's actually recognizing that balance is what we're after here. I heard this really beautiful analogy the other day it was actually a talk on the Knights Templars, and if you've not heard of them, I suggest that you look them up, because it's just a fascinating story. There's a talk on them on Gaia that is really, really powerful, so I recommend that. But anyway, they talk to this symbology of a woman holding a silver platter with a golden chalice. Now, for those of you that do know about the Knights Templar, you might have heard of the golden chalice. It's supposed to be the Holy Grail. The Knights Templar were a group of knights who existed in the 1100s in medieval times, who were part of the Crusades, according to traditional history. They were very powerful, they had a lot of money behind them, and there was also a lot of mystery. And they were supposed to hold the Holy Grail, and there's lots of different interpretations of what that actually means. The talk I recommend on Gaia gives a very powerful perspective on it, which I really recommend. But this description of the silver platter and the golden chalice I really loved, because what it was to represent was the feminine, the and the masculine, the gold. And it's the balance of those two things. And what we are being invited to move into is the balance of that masculine and feminine within ourselves, but also the discovering of the healthy of each of those energies within ourselves. So as much as we want to move into our feminine more, because it's the energy that's not been given much love for most of our lives, we also want to recognize that there's a healthy masculine aspect that we really want to start to move into. Now, what does this look like on a real, on a practical level? So firstly, moving in with the feminine. Feminine is in both man and woman. We all have masculine and feminine energy. The feminine energy is aligned with water. I've talked to this in previous videos, I know, but it's the yin energy, the dark energy, okay? Darkness, which we're taught to fear, is actually where we all start life, in the womb, being held in that dark space, that space of growth, that space of creation. And that's where the feminine aspect sits. And when we go into the darkness of who we are, it can be challenging and it can be painful at times. It can also be a space of peace. What do we do when we meditate? We close our eyes, we go into darkness. So I know that as part of my journey, I've had to come to terms with my darkness. I've had to change my relationship with my darkness because I wanted to own my sovereignty. And by that, I mean, I continue to want this. The journey is ongoing, FYI. Okay. But it's this desire to move through any sense of limitation that I feel, in order that I feel more and more at peace with whatever comes into my experience, more and more whole and secure in myself, so that whatever I'm offered from the outside does not have the ability to rock me or hurt, disturb me in any way. And in moving through my limitations, in moving through my fears, in moving through my angers and my resistance to things, I discover more and more about who I am and how powerful I am in my ability to hold space for myself. And that is why it's such a valuable and powerful journey. Moving through those aspects of ourselves can be painful. And what I want to say today is to not be afraid to feel, to not come into a space where you sense resistance, you sense fear, and shirk away from it. It's at those times that we're invited to find courage. When we reflect on the times in our lives that have been most challenging, we as a collective have a tendency to side with this aspect of victimhood. I was attacked sexually when I was younger. I could very much be a victim of that situation. I choose to recognize the lessons that it offered me. I chose situations and experiences that at the time I just wanted to validate myself as a woman, and in actual fact I put myself in really dangerous and not intelligent situations. But moving through that experience, I moved deeply into myself and promised myself I would not devalue myself like that again. I would not allow that behavior to come towards me again, because I would hold firm in who I was and use my intuition to feel whether that person or situation was going to serve me or not. And getting that wisdom, getting that experience was worth all of it, because I know that I'm the creator of my experience, and I needed to go through those experiences to learn the power of who I am and the capacity of who I am. And you see, when we can move through the things that challenge us from a space of, I'm manifesting this and there's something in it for me to learn, and even if that is the lesson that I need to shift my energy, so I start manifesting more pleasant experiences, which could just be the lesson. It's just powerful stepping into a space of being in ownership of everything that you're experiencing. That's a very healthy masculine quality, is the ownership of things. Okay, so talking to how you can allow your feminine to be more present within you, allowing yourself to cry, allowing yourself to not really necessarily know what's wrong, but just giving yourself, creating space for yourself to sit with the feeling of discomfort, whatever it might be. Instead of spending all this time looking for reasons as to why you might feel what you feel, just feel it. Just sit back and cry, or maybe go for a big walk in the national park and have a scream or a shout off a cliff edge. Maybe have a little fire somewhere and write everything down that feels troubling to you and burn it. But feel it. Allow yourself to move through the experience of the emotional invitation. Our emotions are vibrations. As we ascend, as we expand ourselves, we will move through vibration, which means we need to move through emotion. Crying is not weakness. Crying is productive. It is a pathway to healing, which means it's a pathway to your inner power. We need to shift these perspectives. It's not serving us. So really making space for you to feel your way. Are you going to be an emotional wreck for the rest of your life if you practice this? No. Reason being, you're going to move through it. When we don't move through something, it's always hanging around and it affects our energy. And actually, that makes us far more emotional because we're not allowing ourselves to move through something. We're sort of sitting in the shadow of it. And that has a big impact on how we show up for ourselves and the world around us. And it actually really depletes and disempowers us. So by sitting with whatever's challenging you and allowing yourself to just feel it and not look for all the justifications or reasons for it. When we do that, we go really into our thinking space, into our ego space generally, and that's not going to help us. By feeling our way, we go into our heart space and we allow ourselves to just energetically shift through something. So that's helping you move into your feminine. Now the masculine, I kind of referred to already, is that ownership aspect, and that's really when you're in a space which feels challenging, when you're around people that for whatever reason feel confronting to you, having the ability to firstly check in with your body. How are you holding your hands whilst you sit there talking to these people? Are you crunched up and small? Are you keeping quiet and looking down? Just taking where's your tummy? Your tummy is a really good one. If your lower tummy feels tight, if you're not breathing into your tummy, there's a tightness, there's a fear, there's a constriction, there's disownership of self. When you're owning yourself, when you're comfortable in your body and who you are, you're showing up. You're holding yourself with ease. And if you're around people that are challenging to you, I would recommend that instead of sitting in this narrative of, oh, these people are X, Y, and Z, blame, essentially, I would recommend you go into your body and you sit with a sense of, it's going to be okay, I've got you. Okay, this sense of self-ownership, whether you're feeling fear or pain or suffering or sadness or anger, whatever it might be, sitting with yourself and saying to yourself, I see you, I hear you, I'm here for you, I've got you. And consciously allowing your tummy to relax, allowing your body to relax, your fingers to unfurl, whatever it might be. But just in practicing that, we move out of this blame of, why are you not friendlier? Or why are you cruel? Or why are you judgmental? Or why are you critical? To a space of, I've got you and I'm holding space for you. And these people are not physically affecting me. I am controlling the experience that I am having internally. If you want to take it a step further, then ask yourself, what is it about the energy these people are offering me that is upsetting me so much? Because when we can step out of seeing everybody as these kind of really powerful physical presences that, I was just wondering if that was a word, but anyway, these really powerful physical aspects that are kind of attacking us, when we can move from that place into a place of, within each of these people is spirit, is energy. They're offering me a vibration. That's it. And if I can just decide how I wish to receive this energy, then I'm taking ownership of who I am. I'm standing in my healthy masculine, because you're becoming protective, you're drawing boundaries, you're owning your presence, you're starting to own your sovereignty. And that's where the power can come from. So, I hope that this serves you. It's just stepping back from that desire, this addictive desire to blame. And I know as a woman, I feel that we are very much encouraged as women to blame men. And I'm over it. I'm over giving them that power, frankly. I believe that I have complete responsibility for my choices in my life. My life is a reflection of my decisions. No one can take that away from me. So if you're unhappy, have a look at the reflection you're being offered, the people around you, the life that you're living, and ask yourself, where do I want to take ownership? Where do I want to draw my power back from? Yes, you might have children. Yes, you might be married. These don't have to be dead ends. It's just about how you wish to create your energy within them, around them, above them, over them. We are highly creative beings. There is always a way. It just depends on the limitations that we decide to put on ourselves. The thing we are most fearful of is our power. So, something for you to contemplate this week. I'm not going to give you a practice. I'm going to leave you with that. I would love for you to observe yourself. Observe how you're showing up. Are you allowing yourself to feel? Are you taking ownership when you're in a situation that's challenging? I would love to hear your thoughts, and I will be in touch again soon. Blessings to you all, and wishing you all a wonderful week.